you brought up a new way of thinking, and it takes me back to someone that we interviewed a little while back, Miss Norm Marshall, and Norm Marshall is actually doing something for us. Can you talk more about that? What he's doing for Allendale Strong?
Yeah, and leading into that, we've had Norm under contract for years, but we couldn't get to a point of last April. Dorothy sent a Freedom of Information Act request to NLCOG saying, we want your travel demand model, that data. And it took until January 5th, from April 22nd to
Right.
January 5th, for NLCOG to finally say, here's the link to the data that Norm wants. And so it's exciting that, and what we're going to do is attack the misinformation on a technical level. Norm brings the most current thinking of how to model traffic demands to inform decision makers. And so we have great hope and belief from Norm's experience that we're going to show or expose some of the flaws and misinformation coming out of the traffic modeling that NLCOG uses. It's 50, 60-year-old technology when we've got current technology represented by Norm. That's really exciting that we're at that point.
And you know what, Kim, I also believe that even though they just sent those, and because of, we're filing this civil rights issue, some of that come from them pushing them, hey, y'all, you know what, we got to get this right, because they're just not stuck on stupid. They're moving forward and trying to get what we really need. And the thing about it, they want to charge us, what, $7,500?
Yeah.
Yeah, to get that model. And when we got the letter back from them, no charge.
Right. And no strings attached. They wanted to charge us and sign a non-disclosure agreement. We couldn't tell anybody what we learned.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy. Every month I'd go to their meeting and ask them, how about it? And they'd say, well, we can't find it, or the vendor won't release it to us. And I started accusing them of the dog ate my homework excuse. They just never could find it or come up with it. And finally, we could have been on this a year ago.
Yeah. It may be important to reflect back that it was 2014. I think that's when a group of Allendale Strong residents took information to an NLCOG meeting and presented that this is the research, this is what we want the public to discuss more. One of those points was, we want your traffic modeling updated. Here is the research that justifies why this should be a public conversation. And so really since 2014, we've asked NLCOG to address these technical issues. They've refused. And so here we are. Allendale Strong has gotten donors to support us in hiring Norm to do for NLCOG what they refuse to do for themselves and for our decision makers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it makes me think, especially I was reading the money that we're getting in for the Build Back Better plan. The governor actually mentioned a state project that's happening in Lafayette that they're still trying to push through. And I know we partner with Lafayette on the statewide coalition, a Four Corners coalition. And I really, I feel for them down there, because they're still trying to push that, that whole I-49 ICC down there in Lafayette. It just, it really, like you hear all this great news, then you read something like that, and you're like, man, like we need to really partner together and get it done. But if I'm not mistaken, we are a partner.
Yes.
Doreen.
Yeah.
You know, John, can you go into that a little bit about the statewide coalition that we have going on, the Four Corners?
Sure. I've always been friendly with the Lafayette group that was called Y49. And I think they maybe kind of got a little complacent, if I could just nudge them a little bit. But through those connections that we made, they were dormant for a while. But we've also connected with folks in Monroe, which is in the northeast corner. And Amy Stelly found us through our fantastic page, Friends of Allendale Strong, and just sent a message one day. We also get a lot of press contact through that page, but it has almost 5,000 people following it. So it's a little bit bigger presence. So my word, if I could encourage people around the state is get active on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, and hopefully we're moving, you know, we have this podcast. I hope we're moving into some of the other platforms. I'm hoping maybe you can start doing some musical stuff on the different platforms. Maybe we could do some dances or something to get everybody, you know, following us on those reels. But social media really works, and you don't have to go out and knock on doors. But now we kind of are at the stage where we need to start knocking on doors and getting ready. So hopefully we can all work together more. The Four Corners Coalition of Louisiana, which has come along nicely in the past year, it's still pretty nascent, but we're coming together and getting active. So I'm excited.
Definitely. I know, Kim, you guys meet together once a month. Am I correct?
That's right. We convene on Zoom, and you know, I feel like it's Allendale Strong that initiated that coalition, and we're the ones that convene it currently, and it's been so great just to see that dynamic of you know, we're just sharing each other's plight, and in doing that, we began to find points of agreement, or like we've been trying to shape a one-pager that we can all share in to communicate a consistent message across the state. And then lo and behold, we're now going to, Allendale Strong's going to be represented at a national conference on a panel. Dorothy and will be our representative on that. They've asked me to moderate the panel. And so through the Congress for New Urbanism in Oklahoma City in March, we'll participate in a national conference around our efforts to change transportation policies and practices.
Wow.
And you know what is so great about that? And I just remember, I think it was Kim saying this, how things are just emerging out of Allendale. You know, I mean, something that we didn't intend to start, but because of, you know, what we're going through and continuing to press through this, it's just how other cities are coming along, and how, just out of Allendale, things are emerging in different cities, you know, and how we are just coming together, just like Kim said, you know, that when we look at these different cities, we're more in agreement with what's going on in each city. We're going through the same thing.
Yeah, I'm reminded of the stone that the builder rejected.
Okay.
You know, without getting too into scripture, but it really is a classic ancient story about out of the least comes some of the greatest. And it's an amazing story. I'm fortunate to have been a part of these last, I think I've been at it 7 years, which seems like 70 sometimes. But but it's been a great learning experience, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Hope I can get to that conference, just to be there with all those other people from around the nation would be a great experience. So yeah, congratulations, Dorothy and Kim.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Well, and that comes, you know, partly out of our freeway fighters. We're part of a nationwide network. And so Dorothy, emerge is the correct word. And, you know, it's amazing how this walk of taking action for the right reasons and for the right purpose of a stronger community has begun to emerge new things that can add to that. And